Earl Children's Real Estate Investments will teach you how to build wealth through real estate. Learn step by step how to become a real estate investment empire through wholesaling and flipping residential and commercial properties. Be a boss, take over the block by becoming a real estate investor. Learn more at www.earlchildrens.com.
Hey, Ray, hand me that AR.
You are now listening to Off the Rip.
Off the Rip, Artist podcast out right now. It's your boy Earl The Artist.
What's good with it? You got OTR staff here, man, and we with special guest Nyshaun Harvey. Introduce yourself.
Hi guys, I'm Nyshaun.
What's up, man? Who is Nyshaun for the people who don't know?
I am a 24-year-old serial entrepreneur right here in St. Louis, Missouri. Just trying to make a name for myself and get back to my community any way that I can.
That's what's up. So how did the Latte Lounge come about?
I've always had a love for coffee since I was like 14 years old, spending all my time and money at Starbucks. So I figured, instead of investing all this money into Starbucks, I could invest it back into myself. And not only into myself, but back into the community. One of the things that Florissant lacked was like that small town home feel cafe.
Yeah.
And so it's been a little over a year now, and it's been a game changer for sure.
I feel that. And you also have a daycare and another Latte Lounge. How's that? How did you start getting into the business world as a female?
Yeah, I think my family, they've always been entrepreneurs. So it's kind of what was set in front of us. I did go to college to UMSL for a year, and I was like, this is not for me. So I dropped out of UMSL, and then I opened up a home daycare in 2017. I think I was 19 years old. So the daycare's been open for about 5 years now. The biggest mission behind the daycare was pretty much to try to catch the next generation before they came up, just to affirm them, to show them who they are, and kind of instill just self-worth in them pretty much.
I feel that. And I see you're really in tech with your family. What does your family bring to the table that you love about them?
Support. My number one supporters for sure. Anything I want to do, whether it's off the walls, whatever. They're behind me 100% in whatever I'm willing to do. So I appreciate that for sure.
I feel that. So what's next for you? What's the goals you got upcoming, and what all do you want to do in the business world?
I think right now for this year, I just want to bask in everything that I have. This is the restaurant downtown is fairly new. It gets pretty crazy, a little overwhelming, not gonna lie. So right now I just want to figure it out, get our systems in place, make sure that we're doing everything at excellence here. Hopefully next year we can expand probably to the West County and St. Charles area. And in the next couple of years I'm hoping to expand to maybe Texas, Atlanta, or something like that.
Oh, you're gonna go global.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
What's some of the challenges you had to face starting up the Latte Lounge?
Oh my gosh. I think just the unknown. That's the biggest thing. I didn't know. The daycare was more easy. I feel like people have kids all the time, so that was guaranteed clients. But with the coffee shop, I had to give them a reason to want to try me. Why would they want to try me over Starbucks? Kind of what made me different. And so I think that was the hardest part of figuring that whole thing out. What would make people come in? So the latte flights, the simple tray, the split cups, that kind of thing. That's what made us different. Nobody else in St. Louis is serving up those things. So I think that's the biggest challenge. And also the support, not worrying about the support from the support that you don't get from the people that you expect to get it from. That was probably one of the biggest challenges too. Because it's not going to always be your family. It's not always going to be your friends. But people are supporting, so we do appreciate the ones that do support too. So yeah.
And with support always comes hate. Did you see a lot of hate in this, or it was up and down?
I think it was up and down. I don't really get off, into that. I try not to read into stuff too much, but I mean, you peep stuff. People that I asked to mentor me before that are successful in business that declined are now trying to, mentor me because of where God has brought me. I can't take credit for any of this, and so. I think, just those small little things, like I said, I try not to read off into it, but I mean, when you know.
Yeah. So you picked an excellent location downtown. What is your creative process when it comes to picking different locations?
So the coffee shop in Florissant, there just so happened to be a space 2 doors down from the daycare, so that one kind of just fell in my lap. This space, my parents have a venue space literally right across the hall, and this space was empty. and they were trying to figure out something to do with it, the owners. And my dad was like, he always wanted a restaurant, and then I had the coffee shop, so we just put the two together. But really, I'm looking for something with the vibe. That's kind of what I say. Like when you go to LA or when you go to Chicago, all these places have a vibe. They have, you know, the cute picture areas and things like that. And so the things that we added here, the swings and different things like that, so people can, you know, flick it up, Instagram it up, tag us, all that kind of stuff.
I feel that.
That's important that you said that, because I feel like a lot of like spaces like this, they need places for like content creators to come in and like make this like their second home and be able to advertise for you. So speaking of advertisement, like what are some marketing tips you try to like implement to your businesses?
I actually run all of my social media platforms myself. I've learned a lot over a year, most definitely. People ask me all the time, you know, who does your social media? Our following in 3 months is like insane. The amount of shares, like the viral posts, everything. But I really have learned, I guess, the algorithms of what time to post, you know, what to post, what people like to see. That's pretty much what I've learned. So for marketing, like I don't pay for any marketing. It was just trial and error. I don't have any like legit advice. But I think I kind of figured it out for us though.
And for like young female entrepreneurs, what advice do you give to them? Like that's trying to come up and do what you're doing. What advice can you give?
I think knowing your why is the biggest thing. Why you want to do something. A lot of people go into entrepreneurship for money. The money is absolutely amazing. I'm not going to act like it's not, but money is not everything, because if you don't get up every morning and love what you do, you're literally going to be burnt out. You have to love what you do. I absolutely love kids. I absolutely love coffee. I love people. So when I'm here every day, one place or another, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And so remembering my why behind it. Again, my why for the daycare was to kind of raise up the next generation. My why for here was to just kind of get people together and provide like a safe place for people to kind of get away, you know, if they just need to take a break, if they want to lounge, whatever. So knowing your why, and then also make sure that you do your research, know all your stuff before you get into it, because it's not easy. It's not easy at all. So do your research, and then make sure that you have a support system, and don't be afraid to ask for help. That's the big thing that I've learned too.
I feel that. And we know you love the kids. Do you ever like doubt the next generation that's coming up? Because you know how it is, this next generation. It's like they're so up and down. You don't really know what to expect from them. They're like so wild. Do you ever have your doubts, or like, how do you feel about them?
That's a tough question. I have hope, you know, in them. I think that like our age group is a bunch of go-getters. We're all like trying to do something, but I think the ones that are like right under us are just looking for something fast money. A fast way to get to the top, the next designer thing. That's all they're looking for. They're not really looking for a purpose or know their purpose or have a why behind anything that they're doing. And so I have hope. I hope that, you know, they hold on to it. But that's why the next generation, like I said, my goal is to catch them while they are 2, 3, and 4 years old, because that's what's going to stick with them the most and mold them for when they get older.
Good. And do you want to just stick with like the daycare and the latte lounges, or do you want to expand into other areas?
I think that coffee and kids is just my thing. I'm not really interested in too much else. I love interior decorating, but like I wouldn't do that for a living or anything. So I think that's where I am right now.
As in, I know you have a good faith in God. How do you like keep your faith first before anything?
I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for God. In the seasons where it seems like things aren't happening the way that I think that they should. Where I write down goals. You know, I've been writing down coffee shop in my journal probably since 2018, and it took 2 or 3 years for it to actually like happen. So just continuing to write it down and believe him, even when it doesn't seem like he's coming through. He's always on time. And that's like one of the big things that I exemplify in front of my staff as well. Like the first thing you know is like we pray every morning as a team. We pray. You want to join our team? We pray. Like that's just, we set the tone, and that's how we start our days here. So I mean, you can get busy in what you do, but I don't want to be busy and just be busy doing nothing. I want to be busy doing what God called me to do. But that's a big thing that I got to keep him first. I just wouldn't be here without him.
I feel that, and I know God has brought you through many journeys. Can you tell us about like the times? I know with entrepreneurship, it comes times where you feel like just packing it up and calling it quits. Can you tell us about them times that you was at your lows?
Yeah, I think the coffee shop is a good example. The one in Florissant, We opened right in the middle of the pandemic, November 2020. I was getting my build out literally right before the pandemic hit, and it was supposed to take 6 months. 6 months turned into 14, and I was already in this lease, so there was literally nothing I could do. But I mean, lots of sleepless nights, crying, whatever, because I felt like I invested so much of my money and time into this space, and like, is it ever going to happen? Is it ever going to come to pass? So at that point, I told my family, I'm done. I don't care if the contractor's finished or not. Like, I don't want the coffee shop. It's taking too long. I'm not making any money. But I turned it around, and so my 6 months turned into 14, and those first couple of months were rocky. Kind of feeling like, did I make a mistake? Was it the wrong time because it was the pandemic, whatever? But it's like as soon as that new year hit, like February, everything just took off.
And like for your location in St. Louis, this is your home. Do you ever want to get up out of St. Louis and move somewhere else and start fresh?
Absolutely.
What's that next location? Where you want to go to?
I would love to move to California. That is my goal. My businesses are way too new right now to do that, but California, I just believe that's where I belong. I would love to move to California.
What's in California that got your eye so much?
I just think I think we're behind in a lot in St. Louis, which is why, with the businesses that I'm bringing here, I'm trying to get us up to speed in some way or another. But I think California is just more up to speed. I feel like it's more of a busy city. It's more of a supportive, more of the entrepreneurship, real estate, that kind of thing. I feel like everybody's after the same thing in California. And so I think that's why I'm so drawn to want to be there.
So what was the biggest lesson you learned in all of this process of getting your business started up?
I think the biggest lesson I've learned is to not let, the things that happen to me in life determine who I am, not fall victim to my circumstances. When I was 14, I did lose my father, and that was definitely a hard time for me. 2 years of depression and migraines, which is how I ever started drinking coffee in the first place. But I think if I would have allowed, that situation to kind of take me down, then I wouldn't be anywhere close to where I am today. But instead of, letting that determine who I am or what my life would have been like, I just turned it around to create a legacy for my dad. And so, like, in doing that, this is where I am now. It's been 10 years, actually. It's been 10 years since my dad's been gone. And so just to keep his name alive, keep the legacy alive, and do what he would want me to do versus falling victim to everything that happened to me.
And what are some of the biggest sacrifices you had to let go with being an entrepreneur? I know I'll be making fun of you, calling you Hollywood sometimes with friends and family. What's the stuff, that you had to really understand? And people that don't understand what you go through on a daily with being busy and stuff, can you explain all that?
Yeah. I think as an entrepreneur, you still make time for what you want to make time for. I'm huge on self-care. I'm huge on turning my phone on D&D. I'm big on all of that, because if not, I'm going to get burnt out. So some of the sacrifices would have been maybe not hanging out when I wanted to hang out, but maybe doing stuff for my business that needed to be done. Not being able to go to, every gathering or whatever that might look like, but you also have to take time for you as well. With 3 businesses, I actually have, I think, the most time I probably have ever had in my life, in this last month or so, because I'm making time for it, making sure that every location is staffed so that I don't have to be in any set place at any set time. I can kind of just float around and live my life because I'm still young. I don't want to be locked down. But my motto is to work now so that I can play later, and I want to play early. So I'm getting out the way right now.
That's what's up. So what is some advice you would give to somebody that's trying to start a coffee shop or a latte lounge?
I think that what I said earlier is do your research. That was a big thing for me. I met with a whole bunch of different coffee vendors before opening up, and I almost chose the wrong one if I hadn't done my research. And so doing your research, finding, again, what makes you different, what makes you different than Starbucks. Starbucks is always going to be Starbucks. No competition with Starbucks, but they're always going to be them. People are always going to go to Starbucks. So it's what little niche do you have that makes you different to make somebody turn left instead of right and come to your cafe instead? Finding your support, once again, I think that's huge too. I think that's it.
So you mentioned coffee vendors. So for those that don't know, what is considered a good coffee vendor and a bad coffee vendor?
I'm big on relationships, and that was one of the reasons that I chose the coffee vendor that I have now. just people that are relational. They walk me through literally every step until my doors open. They were at the grand opening with me, helping on the espresso machine. Just people that are there for you, people that pretty much have, I mean, you gotta look at the price, compare price sheets, the wholesale prices, with recipes. I mean, literally they walked me through every single thing, because even though I had a love for coffee, I never like made coffee before this. Yeah. So I literally like learned everything. I had to take classes, and they offered all those services to me. So like that's what a good coffee vendor looks like.
A coffee class, I ain't never heard of that. So that's like the perfect vendor then for me.
Yeah.
I feel that. And I know you got a solid team behind you, like family and great friends. Can you tell the people the importance of having that behind you?
I think it's very important. I mean, days where I literally couldn't get out, couldn't do what I needed to do, maybe sick in body or just having a bad day, whatever. People that can stand in the gap for you when you can't be there physically for yourself, people that'll pray for you. My family, like I said, my number one cheerleaders, we have our group texts, our morning motivation, our daily affirmations, all that stuff. People that have the same mindset as you are the people that you need to be surrounded by, because like they say, friends are like elevators. If they're not taking you up, they're going to take you down. I don't care how strong you think you are. If you surround yourself with the wrong people, you're going to find yourself doing the wrong things. So friends, family, whoever, I don't care who it is. If you're not on what I'm on, going the direction that I'm going, encouraging me or adding value to my life, I'm cutting you off. That's just it.
Dang, even the blood get cut off?
That's just it. Everybody.
And that's like a common thing with entrepreneurs. Like we interview like a lot of people, and the common thing they keep saying is having a team. And I really didn't know the importance of that until actually, like, we started out the real, like, only one man can do so much. So is it times where you feel like you be feeling like it's too much workload? Is it too much workload for you?
I don't think it was at one point. I mean, even just the coffee shop and the daycare was way too much for me, and that's because I didn't have a team. Staffing was like so scarce. It was so hard in the pandemic. But right now, I think that I have the perfect people in every business that are doing exactly what they need to be doing. That'll pick up, the slack for me when I can't. It definitely can be stressful, but right now, like I said, I have the most time that I've ever had in 5 years of entrepreneurship right now.
Yeah, you have like a dope and friendly staff. Was it hard staffing people?
It was hard. No, not this location at all. The daycare and the other location, very hard to find people that truly care about your business, because you train them up and you hope that they'll, treat your business with respect and do all that you would do for your business yourself. But you can only hope, because you don't know these people. You're just interviewing them, and you get, that painted picture in the interview, and after that you get to see the real them. But I think we have a pretty good team, a pretty friendly team. But I mean, like I said earlier, if you're not adding value to the business, to my life, whatever, I'm quick to fire somebody. I mean, very quick. If you don't fit the culture, you don't fit the mold, you're not friendly, you're not providing or not adding value to the business, you have to go.
What do you think it is that have so many people believing in your dream?
I think it's just favor, honestly. My goal daily is to just be a light for people. Even when I don't feel like being a light, when I don't want to smile. I think that's the biggest thing for me. It's just being relational. Like I said earlier, I'm big on relationships. And so you build that relationship with the staff, but you also have that fine line of professionalism and respect at the same time, so that they can respect everything that you're saying. And don't think you're a joke, because I've had, the ones where you build a relationship with and they take it a little too far and they've gotten fired. But being relational, I think, and I mean, they see the fruit of everything that's happening around me, so they know that, that I don't take it lightly, that it's not a joke. Yeah.
So how do you find that perfect balance of being like a lovable, I guess you would say, boss and leader, as opposed to being like a strong, hard fist? Like, how do you find that balance?
It's tough. 5 years later, and I'm still figuring it out. I've gotten better. I've actually have ruined some staff to boss relationships, trying to be too friendly, or because I've never been a mean boss. I'm not gonna be telling everybody this. I wouldn't tell anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do. Like, in here, you'll see me bust a table, you'll see me sweep and mop, you'll see me behind the coffee bar, you'll see me hosting. I'll do everything. I'll get in the kitchen if I need to. Like, I'm not going to tell anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do personally. And I think that's another thing, too, that people respect. Most people will get, in a in a job and the boss is just sitting down telling everybody else what to do. When your staff is under stress and they're struggling, you got to step up.
Right.
You gotta help out. So yeah, I think that's probably a big thing too. But it's a balance. You know, after hours or before hours, whatever, you can joke and play. But when business is in session, all of that has to stop. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've learned about it.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I'm saying? No, I know you done to go on.
I know we talked about this a while ago, like off camera, because you're so young, you're only 24. Can you tell people how, like, I know you spoke on this, like, being young, is it people that try to belittle you and everything, since, you know what I mean, and you're a female also, people that's older than you, you know, because I know at 24, so you probably got a lot of staff that's older, people think, like, who is she? Yeah. She can't tell me what to do. I know you go through that on a daily, so how is that though? And even in business rooms when it's a lot of other bosses that's trying to, you know what I mean, take advantage because you're young, do you go through that?
I have. I definitely have. Not even just staff, but even customers. With the daycare, most definitely. You know, she's young, you know, she's a female, whatever. They think that they can do whatever they want. Well, no, because if I don't have rules for my business and systems set in place, then my business is going to fail. It's going to be chaotic, whatever. And so I've had to remove kids. I mean, literally, y'all, I don't mean to sound harsh, but like, if it's anything that disrupts my peace, my business, my whatever, you have to go. Like, that's just it.
You ain't throwing no kid out on the street, did you?
I had to get rid of a family because, you know, Dad thought I was a joke. I'm like, I might be 19 years old at the time, but I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so I think that's probably a thing with customers too, but with staff, actually, I've had it more happen with women than men. I have men that are 50 and 60 years old on my team right now, and they respect me more than anybody has ever respected me. But with women, I think sometimes it's a little intimidation. I don't want to sound like that, but I've seen it happen. You know, they're cool and they're excited for me until the media starts to come in, until, you know, people are coming in asking for me and things like that. And it's like, well, wait a minute. I guess, I don't know. Maybe something clicks. I don't know. But I've had it happen where, you know, the disrespect starts and then, okay, well, then you're out the door. Because you're not respecting me. You're not going to disrespect me. I don't care how old I am. But really, I think I'm the youngest. Everybody on my team, I have one that's probably in high school still. Everybody on all of my teams are older than me. But I think that they all respect me. But I definitely experienced with those who didn't.
Now, do you think, I think like female entrepreneurs are ranked like really high in St. Louis in the world. Do you think it's harder though, still, for like female entrepreneurs here in the city? Like, how do you feel?
I don't. I think it's becoming a lot more common that females are stepping out and starting businesses, especially here in St. Louis. I mean, I've heard of a lot, especially over the pandemic, actually, of women that started their own business. So I don't think so.
Well, I appreciate you having us. If you can't tell by the music, it's a packed house in here on a weekday. How can people find your location? Where you located at?
So our Florissant location is on Waterford, 2190 North Waterford, and then downtown is 2617 Washington Avenue. Instagram and Facebook, Latte Lounge and Latte Lounge HG3.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate you. Yes,
we out.